We're feeding about 76,000 kids in a refugee camp.
I think there was a stark contrast, wasn't there, in Uganda between the kids coming over from South Sudan and the kids already in education there, between the emaciation of one group and the hunger that was prevalent, and then the healthiness of the other. It's 200 schools doing 5,000 meals each.
And then when that's all
it's
packed up, what's it look like, Gwyn?
It's over it's 3.5 containers.
So how long would that feed our schools in Zimbabwe?
Hello and welcome to Snack on That, a bite-sized look at feeding the world. I've got my fellow wonderful, super duper incredible presenters with me, Mr.
Gavin Kibble, you've gone very posh on us, Chris.
Well, we need to uprate, get our standards up.
And talking of super posh.
Yes, and super posh we have
Gwyn Williams.
Gwyn Williams. That was posh Welshman.
That was posh
Yes,
Welshman.
indeed.
Yes,
Right.
indeed.
Good to have you here with us, guys. And today we're going to be looking at various aspects of what we do at Feed the Hungry. And I hope we'll understand a little bit more. But do you know what? Where have you been, Gwyn?
I was in Parliament this week.
You what?
I was in Parliament.
Were you an MP?
No, I was meeting an MP.
Meet an MP. Okay.
Yeah,
Did you
yeah.
actually go into into his parliamentary office?
Yeah, so he's got a very nice...
In the
palace.
Houses of Parliament?
No, it was in the one of the buildings by the side. Just
Oh,
the
okay.
other side.
Okay. That was good. And we'll find out what you were doing there another time, won't we, I think?
Yeah, absolutely. We are.
Okay.
So, Chris, where have you been?
Well, where am I usually, Gav?
You're usually stuck in the warehouse, Chris.
Well, pretty much so. Or the Halo Centre, as we
You have
call
no
it.
friends, do you,
I,
really?
I do.
No, you don't.
I have plenty of friends.
No, you don't.
I'm going to tell you about two of my
Go on
friends.
then, tell us about
two
two
of my
of your
friends in the
friends.
warehouse. First of all is Nathan, and he's our super duper warehouse manager.
Everybody's
and knows-
super duper with you.
Yes, today they are.
Yes.
But Nathan is particularly superb.
He is.
In terms of looking after our warehouse and bringing it into some kind of order and making sure that everything that comes in goes out in the right place. He has an in strategy, an exit strategy, and just an all-round good egg and looking after our warehouse. So
Can you apply that to Gavin as well?
No,
And
well,
in
good
and out-
egg.
No, in and out strategy.
Yes.
That's very good.
They don't call me Captain Chaos for nothing.
No, indeed.
They
So
do
does
call me
Nathan,
Captain
and then
Chaos, I think.
the other person I want to mention today is Gemma.
Gemma. Oh, yes. We like Gemma.
Yeah, we like Gemma a lot, and Gemma is our events and corporate coordinator.
Manager.
And Gav, I believe you've been on one.
Well, yes, not with Gemma, but I went all by myself, on my lonesome, down to Brighton.
What's
Brighton.
that? Sacrifice.
That was a sacrifice, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Brighton. I haven't been to Brighton since I was, like, yay high.
Okay.
Yeah, and in those days, there was no M23, no M25. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm that old, you know?
And what were you doing in
We
Brighton?
did realise that. Yeah.
Yes. What was I doing in Brighton when I was that high? Buying a stick of rock on the
Yes, probably.
Brighton Pier. What was I doing there this time? Well, we had an event with an organisation called AIG in
Okay.
their offices. And together we packed nearly 12,000 meals to feed children in Africa, in Zimbabwe specifically.
Okay, you packed 12,000 meals. What does that actually mean?
Well, what it means is that we get a team of employees at AIG usually as part of their corporate social responsibility day, and they'll come along and they'll volunteer some time. We did this in 3 shifts, 1.5 hours per shift, and from a hopper to the box, they are packing soy, lentils, rice, and
Nutrients.
Nutrients, yes. We actually opened a nutrients pack this time to find out what was in it. I had a very inquisitive young lady who wanted to know exactly what was in it. She even tested the nutrients. So I've never tasted them, but
Okay.
yeah, they don't taste of anything.
And so how is that done? They just all chuck them into a bag, or what do they do with
So
it?
we have a hopper at the start of it, and then they take a cup of rice, a cup of soy, a scoop of lentils, and put in a sachet of nutrients, seal it, weigh it, then seal it. 6 meals in a bag, 36 bags in a box, 216 meals in a box. So, it requires, well, it's roughly 5 boxes per 1,000.
Okay.
19 boxes to do 4,000, and we put together about 55 boxes in the period we were there.
Okay, and what do you think is the best part of the event of food packing?
Oh, it's always the people. So it's the people you meet, the fun they have. We do it to some really banging music. I'll give you an example. We've tested the music. We were out. It was a company called Medtronic for 2 days last year. They're a a medical supplies company out in Galway, Ireland, and I decided I would test the genre of music from the 1980s, the 1990s,
Yeah.
the 2000s,
Yeah.
2010 to see which made the teams actually work the fastest. And it is without doubt the 1980s.
Incredible.
And specifically, if you want to know, it is the Weather Girls' only hit song, which was...
It's Raining Men.
Very good.
Okay.
And I cannot explain that, although we did find the music on Michael Jackson worked really well
Amazing.
yesterday.
Earth, Wind and Fire?
Sorry?
Earth, Wind and Fire?
Earth, Wind and Fire, September works really well with them,
Okay.
yes.
So something with a beat gets the rhythm going, everybody.
Something they know, something they can sing along to. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really, really good.
Gwyn's still trying to recognise a beat, so we
But
can't
it's
really...
huge amount of fun. I just cannot put into words on a podcast like this just how much
So
fun
being
it
an
is.
educationalist, I think I know why it's fun.
Go on then.
Because it's both mentally and kinesthetically pleasing.
What does kinesthetically mean,
It
Chris?
means basically using your hands and using something of touch that engages all the senses. And actually the mental bit is that you've got to get it in line. You're going quite at pace. And then the final bit is that it gives you an adrenaline rush and an achievement rush, because at the end you've got a whole load of boxes.
There is
And
some
the
of
beat
that.
is so important to do that.
The beat, the
But I
rhythm.
think there's another thing in
Oh,
there,
go on then.
which is that when we do this, we tell the story. So
Absolutely.
we'd say where it's going to. We'll even tell the story of a child, because this is feeding children in places, in schools around Zimbabwe, around Harare in Zimbabwe, in Somaliland, in other parts of the world. We connect people by actually packing the food with the children who are receiving it, and that seems to be the difference. And yes, you're right, there's an adrenaline rush. When we've got 2 or 3 or 4 lines running, it gets competitive, and so one team wants to pack faster than another, but it's just really, for such a simple thing, a huge
So
amount of fun.
just
And we
bring,
would also thank Rise Against Hunger as well, Italy.
We do, and this pack was done for Rise Against Hunger, but we benefit from it because the food comes back to us.
and Rise Against Hunger are...
They're our partner organisation that we actually work with to actually do these packing programmes. They do packing programmes right across Europe, and we look after the franchise of it in the UK. So
Yeah, it was
it's a
Founded
great,
by
part, great partnership.
Yeah, American Methodist minister called Ray Buchanan, and it is very, very similar to Feed Hungary in its objectives.
Okay.
And we partner with them in many, many different ways, but very, very beneficial to what we're trying to achieve, Chris.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. So just very briefly, just describe, you've done the food packing event, you've got however many thousands of meals. What happens next?
Well, they then are sent all the way back to Coventry.
Okay.
And in this case, it was 12,000 meals that came back. They would then join up with another 288,000 meals.
Yeah, hang on though. They meet Nathan, don't they?
They meet Nathan. I forgot Nathan. But
Thank you.
Yes, they are generally loved back into the warehouse
That's
by
it.
our warehouse
Absolutely,
manager,
yeah.
who looks after them. And then when they join up with 288,000 other meals
Yeah.
and make 300,000 meals, they go onto a shipping container.
Yeah.
And are then sent round to a destination, usually through Mozambique or maybe through Durban in South Africa. They'll go overland to... We support, I think it's 16 schools at the moment in Harare, and each school has on average 1,000 children. And they're being fed every day during term time.
Wow. I
And
should
we're
mention...
sending some out to Somaliland
Somaliland
as
as
well, and we have sent out some to Burkina Faso.
We have.
Wow. I should mention there are other people in the warehouse besides Nathan. There's Tony, there's Janae, there's our staff members, and we have a load of volunteers who do wonderful work.
We
in
do.
just
We could
offloading things.
not do what we do without them.
And I think that's the strength of our organisation, I think, is some of the volunteers who give of themselves time and time again of their own volition to help us.
How many volunteers does Feed Hungary have, Chris?
I thought, well, if you include all the food banks, if you include everywhere else, I think you're talking over 300. And it's fascinating. You hear some of the volunteers' stories, why they come to volunteer, and what they do in terms of coming. So I was talking to one of our volunteers yesterday, Brian, his name is, who's actually helping in our commercial kitchen in the warehouse, and he's just a really genuine guy. He's retired now. I think he's about 72 actually, but it gives him a consistency of his week.
Yeah.
Every Monday and Wednesday he comes in with his wife, and they are so kind because they're willing to go the extra mile without even asking them to go the extra mile, and that helps the existence of who we are. He gets the thrill out of it. I asked him how's he doing, and he just said, I just enjoy coming. I know that what I'm doing is helping somebody else, and it was great the other day because I was able to purloin some. Back to it. Coventry City football tickets.
To play Hull, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes, you were on the road
and
to
we
Hull.
we were able to give 20 or so tickets out to some of our volunteers.
And you were involved in a packing event yesterday, I understand.
I was involved in a packing event
How did
yesterday.
you
So
find that?
sometimes, Gav, we have our packing events in the warehouse itself.
Yep.
And same sort of thing. An organisation came in, 45 people, and I think the total was over 10,000, right? 11,000 meals packed. Again, banging music, 80s style. That was really good. But some really good things, good food for them to have at lunchtime. So they came in, had some lunch. The other good thing is, if only we could get more and more people to understand that the smallest amount brought, because they brought a load of food with them for our food bank.
Yeah,
so
over
they
400 kilos.
They packed 400 kilos, was it? I
Yeah.
didn't weigh it. Brilliant. So they got that, created a bit of a team atmosphere, brought those to the warehouse. That was for local, which is amazing because that was local gifting kind, as it were. And then they got to do the packing, which was going to go abroad. So they loved the connection of being local and international, which is what our packing events are.
And of course, our packing events come with hidden extra bonuses. This has been part of Chris's weight loss program, and as a result of the packing events he did, he was involved in one with Zambrero late last year.
That's right, yeah.
Where we packed, what was it, 125,000 meals?
I think it was 120. It wasn't our biggest. I
Yes.
think the biggest I've been involved in was one we did in Ireland. There was 100. No,
that
in
was
Hines,
in Wigan. Yeah.
Wigan,
Hines.
140,000.
That was huge, yeah. So Chris is about half the man he used to be, and
If
so
only.
much more healthy for it.
So there you go. Just to give you a little indication of what a food packing event is, at the heart of what we do. It's not the only thing we do, but it really brings and engages those people around us to find out what we do as an organisation.
So over the next 12 months, we're doing something special with those meals as well, aren't we?
We are, yes.
1 million meals. We're going to
Yeah,
try and
with
pack.
schools we're trying to do. So we're trying to do a social justice program with schools where we take, I guess it's key stage 3 and 4. Is that about right?
2 and 3, I think.
2 and
maybe.
3. Okay. So primary school, upper
Primary school and lower secondary.
And we're offering the opportunity for schools to do a small pack, but also then to have a lesson plan around where the food's going to and the difference it's making in the countries. A chance to engage with children of their own age in places like Harare and Somaliland and elsewhere.
So 1 million meals is an awful lot.
Yeah.
But actually, it seems an awful lot. But actually, what does it physically look like?
It
Gwyn,
looks
can
like,
you remember?
yeah, it's 200 schools doing 5,000 meals each.
And then when that's
When
all
it's
packed
packed,
up,
it's
what's it look
about,
like, Gwyn?
It's over 3.5 containers.
So how long would that feed our schools in Zimbabwe? That's what, about a third of the year, quarter of the year, something like
Yeah,
that?
it's usually about between 10 and 12 containers in a
Yeah,
year that we send
yeah.
over.
So that's a really
So
great
it's kids feeding
contribution.
kids, effectively. It's fabulous, isn't
It
it?
is
Some idea.
kids feeding kids. I think it's so important that we're able to train our kids in this country about what's happening globally.
Yeah. So we've got organisations like Rotary sponsoring some of these events. We've
Yeah.
got individuals are sponsoring them as well as organisations. So it's a great thing to be part of.
Yeah, so you had an interesting... Well, we found out about an interesting incident when Rich went out to Uganda, where we have a feeding programme. Can you remember what that was, Chris? Chris?
I can't.
Chris, who are you?
I wasn't there.
You were
Gwyn?
there.
Yeah, absolutely. The problem we had there is that we're feeding about 76,000 kids in a refugee camp in Uganda, in Karamoja, and we had an influx of around another 20,000 children from the Sudanese war.
Oh, yeah, South Sudan.
So we're actually run out of bowls to be able to feed. Usually we feed the kids, we wash the bowls, give it to the next kids, but because of the amount of kids that were in the school, I mean, there was 100 kids in each class, squashed in the class, which is supposed to be meant for the 30 kids. So yeah, so we weren't able to feed the kids safely because they hadn't got bowls. So we had to go out and get and buy bowls for these kids.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they would have been burning their hands.
I think it's interesting because when we go out and we see programs in Zimbabwe, they're quite often in schools where children have been fed over a period of time, so they look healthy, they're full of vibrancy, there's smiles on their faces, a shine in their eyes and that kind of thing. And maybe the facilities around them are not great, but they are fed. I think there was a stark contrast, wasn't there, in Uganda between the kids coming over from South Sudan and the kids already in education there, between the emaciation of one group and the hunger that was prevalent, and then the healthiness of the other. But
yeah, and I think one school that I see in Burkina Faso, very near to Ouagadougou, where we just started a feeding program, and to actually go into that village and see the kids who couldn't even have the strength to lift up their arms. They had no life, no sense of you being there. And once they've been fed in 3 days, these kids were running around and laughing, joking. So the effect that just simple food ingredients plus the nutrition of these vitamins can do in a child's life within days is just amazing.
I think it's a real opportunity here as well for kids, feeding kids, for kids in this country to understand what real poverty is about, what real lack of food is about. Because sometimes it's that I didn't get my breakfast this morning. Actually, you didn't get my food for the whole few days, and for them to understand the difference between poverty perhaps in this country and poverty abroad. And there's such an opportunity from the educational curriculum that we can deliver. And I know that schools are really interested. But if anybody's out there and listening and wants to get involved in this, it's called the Million Meal Pack. And we have a Million Meal Pack. If you put that with Feed the Hungry into Google, you should be able to find out all about it. And we'd love to hear from you. So thanks, guys. I think that's tremendous what we're doing. But I've heard on the grapevine that you two have had a few disasters on food packing events. So I want to know what they are.
Well, you went mental over lentils in Poland. Do you want to tell us about that one?
Oh, yeah, no. We had to buy the actual ingredients in Poland, and we was promised the supply of
You know
lentils.
Polish for lentil, do you?
No, I don't.
Okay. How did you... I don't know Polish for lentil. No.
I'm wondering, I happen to know what Polish for lentil is.
How did you go into a shop and said... Do you just speak loudly like Brit abroad going?
You got a Z on the end, don't you? Lentilowskis.
Lentilowskis, yeah. or because you're British and abroad, you speak louder. I want lentil. Is that what you did? I don't know.
No, we just point.
Very good.
So, yeah, no, the supplier let us down, and this was hours before the actual event was happening. So we had to go to every single supermarket in the whole city to actually go round and buy lentils off the shelf. So.
Some balmy Brit coming in asking for lentils off everybody.
Yeah.
And Gav, come on, you've had some disasters.
Oh, well, disasters. The Shard was probably one of the
challenges, shall we say?
Challenges, yes, interesting. So
the Shard? What do you mean the Shard?
Well, Heinz have their marketing department on the 20th floor of the Shard.
Okay.
The first time we did it, we took it down on pallets, which was completely wrong for the particular building we're in. Let me put it like this: if you can get your lorry into the Shard, which we couldn't the second time because it was too tall,
right.
But if you could get your lorry in and take it down to the loading bay, then you would take a lift and go down one floor before crossing the entire width of the Shard and going up 20 floors on the other side. And those are narrow corridors, and you don't do it with pallet trucks. With pallets.
No.
And so that was a real problem for us. Trying to shift 3 tons of food up 20 floors like that let me just tell you that we were not really walking properly by the end of that event. It took us a few days to recover. I'm 60, ladies and gentlemen, and it's hard
As
work.
he keeps reminding.
I keep reminding everybody, I am 60.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
presents can be donated through feedthehungry.org.uk.
But the advantage of taking things to people, it's in their own environment. They do the food packing in their own environment. That it can come back to our warehouse and we can send it out.
Yeah, it's all part of the fun, and people love to engage, and there's always a buzz, and it affects everybody, not just those who are picking.
Just to finish, Gav,
yes,
tell us how you met the Little Mermaid on one of your trips to do a packing event.
The Little Mermaid.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yes, I had enough. Well, it wasn't the Little Mermaid.
It wasn't the Little Mermaid.
No, it was Elsa.
Oh, it was Elsa.
Elsa.
Elsa from Frozen. I
Elsa
do
from
apologise.
Frozen, yes,
Yes.
and I proposed to her with my wedding ring.
Did you?
Yes.
Okay. Come on, tell us what
Oh,
happened.
well, this was a Disney pack on 100,000 meals down in Hammersmith. And Disney's wonderful because they've got all their characters all over the place. So you've got stormtroopers, you've got Captain America. You can stand by them and have your photograph taken. They're life size. They had an Elsa there, very attractive young lady, life size dummy, and
A bit like you then.
a bit like me. Yeah.
Just got to say,
Yeah, so we had a great time with all this at Disney, and great day.
Successful pack?
As always, yes, when I do them.
Yes.
Yes, of course. If you want a good pack, ladies and gentlemen, it's
Just
me you need
invite
to ask
Gav.
for. Yes.
Okay. So from Brighton to Burkina Faso, from Disney through disasters, and I can't think
Are
of
you
anything else.
alliterating now?
I am trying my best, Gav, but you're interrupting me all the time. I just want to say thank you for being with us on Snack on That today. We'll see you next time. Bye.